in this episode.
Thundar was only like one season.
Damn, it's pretty memorable for only being one season.
It's like one season.
Wasn't that the prequel to the Thundar Cats?
No.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
That was so bad.
Yeah.
Welcome. You're listening to PaleoCheeze Podcast, episode 28, with guest John Boden. Vintage cartoons and parents' gatekeeping music.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeremiah Bannister.
And I'm Chad Lutsky.
And you are listening or watching PaleoCheeze Podcast, part of the Project Entertainment Network. And Chad, we've got an awesome show. And dude, we got a guest.
We do. We do. I was going to say we haven't had one for a while, but we just had Tim Meyer. So,
Yeah,
but we had a couple of episodes there in a row where it was just you and I hanging out. But we have my very good friend, author John Boden. And just a few words about John. I didn't write anything down just because I know John so well. I've known him for going on 6 years, I think, something like that, like 6 years.
At least.
Yeah. And he's one of my favorite indie authors, if not my favorite. He's got several books out: Jedi Summer, Spun Gunyon. Yeah, there you go.
People struggle with how to say that word.
Walk the Darkness Down. A couple awesome books with Bob Ford, like Cattywampus and Rattlesnake Kisses. You wrote one with Mercedes Yardley, Detritus in Love, I think is what it's called. We wrote one together, Out Behind the Barn, based on John's short story, Maggie's Farm. And so, John, it's a pleasure to finally get you away from your job and on here hanging out with us. So thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, it worked out for once.
I wanted to, just right up front real quick, I wanted to, I was laid off earlier this year. So I spent a lot of time doing social media stuff and marketing crap and writing. And you're out there busting your ass working and not being able to write as much. And it always makes me feel bad. And I'm so thankful that we're, writing something again together, the trailer park thing that we're doing. Super excited about that. And then we've got that other masterpiece that is going to blow minds when it eventually comes out.
It
on
will
the back
be.
burner. Yeah.
Wait a second. The trailer park thing, man. You gotta say something about the trailer park. Oh, I don't know if you can or if you even should. But
we're talking about it. We're talking about it.
Yeah, dude, I'm proud of it.
Yeah, we owe Jeremiah, unknowingly, when the words came out of his mouth, Trailer Park Coven was naming John and I's next novella.
Yeah,
because and I think it was it was the episode with Hunter Shea and Jack Campese, and you were talking about what were we even talking about?
We're talking about Black Christmas. Yeah. And it was a group effort, man. It's like one of those things. Yes, it did. I pulled that bugger out of my rear end. I mean, it's true. But at the same time, it was because of the conversation as a whole with all the different people and the humor. It was so much fun. We were having such a blast, and it just came out, right? And so when you told me, and it was one of those moments, and we'll have it forever, man, stored in time, man. It's captured. It's on video. Where it was like, I'm going to do this. And you guys are really.
Immediately. I said it immediately. When you said
immediately.
Trailer Park Coven, I said, I'm writing that book. And I said, dibs right now. And then I think it was the next day I wrote John. I was like, I can make a kick-ass book, but John can make it even more kick-ass if I get him on board. Man. So, and I knew if I told him the name, he'd be like, dude, yes, let's do this.
I need you guys.
I'm in.
Yeah, you're in, man. I got to have you guys eventually. Once it's published, man, I have to have you guys sign it, and I will enshrine it in my home. I will have an amazing shrine, lights, and a thing of incense underneath, and people are like, what's that? And I'm like, that right there is Trailer Park Coven, man. That's what that is.
The quickest way to get me to say yes to something is to involve white trash, trailer parks, or old country music, and I would say yes right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yep.
You like that old country stuff, huh?
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Chad does not. We don't talk about it.
Yeah. Chad's not a big fan, man. Chad's not a big fan. He's not a big fan of rap either. I like rap, but I like old country too.
And you know what? I think that at this point, John thinks I never really bought one because I haven't taken any pictures of it yet. But I am sporting my John Boden.
I believed you. You sent me a picture of it when you got it.
Oh, did I? Because I think we got our shirts. You got my Volume 4 Lutsky shirt, and I got this. I think on the same day or within a day apart or something. And you wore yours, and I've worn mine several times, but I just kept forgetting to take a picture of it. But I'm wearing it today.
Nice.
I love it. It's a good shirt. I don't know if any more are available, but people should grab one.
I don't think so. Not currently. Maybe when I get the reunion tour together.
So, John, you've got Jedi Summer coming out again through Silver Shamrock this year, right?
What third time?
It's like one of those coveted books, man. Every time it gains some traction, people fall in love with it, spread the word. Then it's out of print for whatever reason. It's the
curse, Chad. We've talked about it. It's the curse.
I know. This last time it was out of print because it was available only as a limited edition, along with Wormwood in the Nightworms package. And so it's like this coveted thing, and then more people hear about it, and they're like, "Oh man, that sounds great," and it's not there. I love that book, man. It's such an amazing book.
Thanks.
It's so funny. I read reviews sometimes, and you can see the majority of readers get it, and they understand, they appreciate the uniqueness of it. And then you can tell some people don't, because they want something kind of
they expect
familiar and traditional, I guess. And it's just not.
I don't approach things that way. You know that.
Yeah.
I never approach anything from a straightforward narrative perspective.
I think it's for the readers who like, not to say that it's a werewolf book, but that, like Mongrels, that was kind of a no true one direction. Mongrels was, and Jedi Summer is definitely like that too.
Well, you know how much I love Stephen Graham Jones, huge influence.
Yeah.
So
man, dude, are you wearing a Wonder Woman shirt?
Waylon Jennings, yeah.
Oh, okay. See, that doesn't show how much I know about.
You're not far off, You can mistake it, Chad. It's a forgivable thing.
Yeah.
They look very similar,
Do they? I don't know. I'm so not familiar with anything superhero-y.
Oh no.
Waylon Jennings and Linda Carter. No.
You and Chad both, dude. You guys don't like superheroes or what, man? What's going on with you guys?
I know.
It's not really. It's an indifference more than a not like. I really don't care.
Yeah, I don't. I like Joker, that movie Joker with Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
but that's about as far as I've just never.
It's a super villain movie.
And I used to watch the Super Friends cartoons. I always rooted for the Legion of Doom. They always had like the cooler.
Yes, that is one of my all-time favorite cartoons ever.
The best.
It's awesome, and actually, it's funny because during quarantine, I remember, we're going through stuff trying to figure out, because our sleep habits are all messed up. The kids are home, and we're like, oh, what are we gonna do? And so we were spending a lot of time watching like cartoons and stuff like that. And I thought, man, I said I used to have Super Friends on DVD, but I only had, it was like, let's say a dozen, right? A dozen episodes. I didn't realize how many different phases there were of Super Friends.
It's like Scooby-Doo. It's just like, there's like 20 years of just different.
Yeah.
And they're not all good.
No, they're not. Some are, we got some of them, and I was like, yeah, but some of them would be like the Super Friends Superhero Hour or something like that. And it was really an hour long. I mean, and there'd be more than one cartoon in that hour. And they had little kind of almost PSA style things in it and everything. So it's pretty cool. And we were really bummed, there were certain characters that would come along and then they wouldn't be there for the evolution of the show. They would be gone, replaced by the Wonder Twins or something. And we're like,
that stupid monkey.
I know. We were bummed about it, man.
I remember watching that when I was a kid, but it was one of those ones where it's like, well, nothing else is on. Like a certain time of the day, I think, where, Gilligan's Island was over and Brady Bunch was over, and Three's Company wouldn't be on for a couple more hours. And so I'd have to.
You and fucking Three's Company.
And Shirley. What's next, Chad? Come on, man.
So I'd have to settle for, that or MASH. Yeah. So
I love MASH.
9 to 5. You do. I'm just poking fun. 9 to 5.
I think my favorite cartoon was always Johnny Quest.
Oh yeah. Now
Johnny Quest was great.
Herculoids and what was the other one? Thundar.
Oh, Thundar's so good.
Yeah, I really liked. Johnny Quest. I mean, it was It was like it was almost kind of an adult. I mean, people died, not like slow deaths or anything, but like they'd get shot and then fall off a boat and stuff like that. And it didn't happen in other cartoons.
Thundar was only like one season.
Damn, it's pretty memorable for only
It's
being one
insane.
season.
It's like one season.
Wasn't that the prequel to the Thundarcats?
No.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
That was so bad.
Yeah, that was bad.
I was waiting. I was like waiting for that man to build up. I said, "This is teed
Yes.
up, buddy.
Super
This
Friends-
is teed up."
Super Friends was like that. It was like another cartoon that was like that for me, where it was like I'd watch like on Saturday mornings when that's where we really got our, other than a couple after school things. Saturday morning was where it was at. But then once you get to about 11 o'clock, things started to taper down, and then you knew the day was over when Fat Albert and Friends was on. That was like
Dude, I
that was
like Fat Albert.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I don't think you're allowed to say that now, but I like it.
I didn't like that one. Maybe it's because I just
I still wanted to play in a junkyard.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked Fat Albert, man.
I leaned toward like either the more horror stuff, or the more fantastical stuff. You know, even He-Man, I was into for a while when I was like, I think 12, something like that. But yeah, more stuff like Johnny Quest, Scooby-Doo, Davy and Goliath.
Scooby. I love Davy and Goliath.
So did I.
Scooby-Doo was cool. What about all the Scooby-Doo knockoffs? Like there was, what was it? The Clue Club.
I've never
like,
seen that.
The Chan Clan was like Scooby-Doo, but they were Asian kids.
What?
You don't remember
Really?
those?
What?
The 70s was wild. Chan Clan, it was called.
Wow.
Wow.
I
It was,
gotta
they were all like, yeah, you gotta look them up.
I don't
They
know
like
if you can get away with that
ran, like,
nowadays.
half of a season. Because you remember cartoons did like that thing where the season ran from like September to like 3 months, and then there was a new season at the beginning of the year. Remember that
before that season, they would have a TV special that showed all the upcoming shows, like previews of all, and I would get so excited to find out what was going to be going on that year. And I would always love
Funky
to take
Phantom. Remember that one?
I don't remember that one.
What
either.
is it?
Funky Phantom?
Really? It was the Revolutionary War ghost and the kids solving mysteries. You don't remember that one? It was so lonely.
Wow. Maybe you watch
You
too many
guys.
cartoons, John.
The Funky Phantom.
The Funky Phantom, it was called.
Wow, dude. No.
Better be taking notes so you can look these up.
Yeah, as soon as this is over, man, I'm seriously, I'm gonna look them all up. I'm gonna be like finding them on Prime. Be like, I'm buying these buggers.
The 70s were so like there was nobody that said no.
Yeah.
Like if somebody just pitched this idea and they'd be like, okay, go do it.
Horror stuff was really popular for kids, a younger audience. Horror stuff, like toys, were really popular in the 70s. Like you had we had the male equivalent of the what was that Betty Crocker machine?
The creepy crawlers.
The Easy Bake
They
Oven.
made the gummy bugs.
And then we had the thing that would make the bugs. And then they had the I used to have this thing. The girls had this thing where you could take it was like embossed Barbie slats, and you could the chicks could be like a little
I know what you mean.
designer, and you just take a crayon, you go like this over a piece of paper, and you could switch out the clothes and stuff. I had one, but it was called Monster Maker. And
I had one of those.
Switch the head and the torso and the legs and everything. It had all these different monsters and evil villains and stuff. And I mean, all the board games. I remember one year my grandma, I think it was 10, and my grandma bought me a makeup kit called the Incredible Melting Man makeup kit. And it was licensed by the movie, where Rick Baker did the.
Probably the coolest thing about that movie. That movie's garbage.
Yeah. But the effects are so cool. And on the cover of this makeup kit is the guy from the Incredible Melting Man, which is pretty gory. And so my mom got really upset and made my grandma take it back. Yeah, my mom did that twice with toys. My dad bought me the original graphic novel for the movie Alien, right when Alien came out. And my mom saw it, had a couple cuss words, and it had a full spread gore chest bursting scene, I think it was. And she made me put that away for years. She wasn't having it.
Meanwhile, in Pennsylvania, for his 11th birthday, John's mom bought him the Creepshow comic book.
Yeah. My dad bought me that one too, but I don't think I let my mom. And I still have both. I have the Alien one and the Creepshow one still, but
my parents made me get rid of I had a whole bunch of He-Man toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had to get rid of them buggers, man, because that was during that whole satanic panic thing. And so there was all these evangelists coming to the churches and stuff and talking about Gargamel with the Smurfs and He-Man.
Yeah, all that new age stuff.
And all of that. And they made me give it away, dude. And those were my Christmas and birthday presents. And they made me give it to the one dude in the class named Gabriel that I totally did not like. He was the guy that had everything, dude. He was like the handsome little guy, and he had money and cool clothes, and I'm wearing the corduroys, and I'm talking the real thick, ugly ones, and I'm wearing them things, dude. And so he gets all this stuff, and they're like, "Well, why don't you just give all these toys to Gabriel?" I'm thinking, like, what? If you really think they're satanic, why are you having me give them to anybody in school?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you guys? But I had to go and give them to him right in the class. I'm sitting there just crying, and I'm handing him this stuff, and he's like, "Thanks, man." He's like, "Well, I've got a couple of these already," and I'm like, It was a terrible thing, dude. And they apologized later. They're like, "I guess we were wrong about that," and I'm like, "It's a little too late."
My dad didn't really care about that stuff, but my mom did, and she paid more attention. As a matter of fact, I was at Meyer one time, and I think my parents said I could get a record or something. This is when I was 9, and so I ran to the records, and I saw that Highway to Hell by AC/DC had just come out. So I picked it up and I ran to my dad, knowing full well he would not let me get it. There's a devil tail. It's got the word hell on it. I said, "Dad, can I get this?" He looked at it and goes, "Yeah, right." And I was like, whoa, because I had just discovered AC/DC that year because I was really into the Stones. And then Kiss, of course, being a 70s kid, it was like, it was the law. Yeah, it was the law. And so I was into Kiss from the age of like 7. And then I think when I was 9, I discovered AC/DC. And to me, AC/DC was like, I hadn't heard punk before, but to me, they were like this punk band because they were the heaviest thing I'd ever heard. Bon Scott's voice and just how loud the guitars were. And he let me get it. But my mom, I don't remember why it started, but my mom put her foot down when it came to Black Sabbath. And she would not allow Sabbath in the house. And she didn't know it, but I had 2 records hidden in my record collection. And then I had, I used to have this plastic, it looked like 3 Bibles. It was plastic and you opened it up and you could hide money in there or whatever. And that was on my shelf. And behind those fake Bibles, I had 9 Black Sabbath cassettes stacked, hidden back there that she didn't know about. And it was just Sabbath. It's like I could get, anything else like Kiss. It's like, and when you look back, like those lyrics, those Kiss lyrics and the AC/DC lyrics, they're stupid. Well, they're stupid, sure, especially Kiss. Well, actually both bands. They're stupid and they're all about sex, all of them. But it's so funny to think that, Sabbath, they had a couple songs that were like, is this satanic? I guess it's really not. But then the rest of them, they were just about kind of like the dark world that we live in, And so it was weird that she would allow me this hypersexual content within lyrics of the other 2 bands, but not this kind of other challenging, more intelligent lyrical content.
I was super fortunate. I mean, my parents split when I was 7. My mom always listened to mostly parent rock, like Jackson Brown and Tom Petty, and she liked a lot of the folk stuff and a lot of the country tinge stuff. My dad leaned more towards 70s classic rock, stoner rock. He liked the Eagles, he liked Pink Floyd, he loved Alice Cooper, he listened to some heavy metal, just a little bit of everything. And then my grandparents listened to pretty much just old country and trucker music. So I grew up listening to all that stuff, and I liked all of it. So I never had anyone tell me, you can't buy or listen to that because of this. Now, sometimes they would say things like, you can't listen to that. That's just garbage. Find something better. But never anything like, that's satanic. Or I do remember my mom looking at the band photo on Motley Crue Shout at the Devil and just shaking her head.
Yeah. That stuff is also, when you think about it, like it's just so tame in comparison, you know, because I've found over the years with my kids, you know, I'll hear something and I'm like, there's no way in hell you're pumping that into my house.
Yeah.
It is absolute garbage. But and I'm not just talking about because I don't like the genre, but the lyrics.
No, it's garbage.
I didn't want to get started on that. I'll talk all night about how much I hate that. But, yeah, it's just so tame in comparison, almost innocent, you know. But looking back, you know, I'm one of these people. I've mentioned this before. I'm one of these people who listen to a song for the melody, and I might know the lyrics and be able to hum along with them or whatever, but I don't pay attention to what they're truly saying. And so I could hear a song, you know, I could be listening to, I don't know, something like a Kiss song my whole life and be listening to 20 years. And then one day I'll be like, oh, it's about this. And I don't, because I just don't pay attention. I'm not, it's like I'm not putting the words together. I just know them. And so it's funny to look back on some of that stuff and be like, I can't believe I was singing this when I was a kid. This is really, you know, like Christine 16 and stuff. Gene singing about wanting to have sex with a 16-year-old high school girl. And there's a couple songs like that where he had a thing for, you know, the young
Isn't it kind of weird if you think about it a little bit? Like when you were saying that the music that comes out now is such, you know, the lyrical content is pretty wicked and stuff, and the stuff back then seemed tame, the stuff that you listen to and stuff. And but that a lot of times, like my dad, fusing him into the conversation about it, that he used to listen and he didn't like the modern rock stuff, like Kiss and all that was outrageous, and Van Halen and all that stuff, that whole thing. But he was like, you know, you got to listen to the really good stuff from, you know, the 60s and 70s and everything. And so he was into oldies. So we would listen to oldies all the time. And as I got older, I'm like, these people are straight talking about boning. Like they are really into it. And this is very sexual. And then I realized, oh, that's because back then when my dad was into that music, his mom was like, this modern music is just so bad. And I'm like, look at where it is. And I'm like, so dude, think of what your son's children are going to be listening to. And your son's going to be like, you know, it's got to be tame like that, you know, black metal from Norwegian countries are, you know, over here. And you're like, what? You're like, what's worse? How does this evolution just keep getting worse? And but it's always relative to whatever that next generation finds to be tame that was controversial to the generation before, and on and on.
Well, we've also gotten to the point too where everything is permitted, so they don't have to be as clever. They used to have to be clever. There used to have to be
cryptic
entendre or lyrical wordplay to, you know, I'm saying this, but I mean this, you know, and it would, now they could just come right out and they just say it all. So it's like,
there's nothing cryptic
now
about
it's WAP.
Yeah.
We don't have to
they just come out
that.
and say it.
Modesty's gone, dude. It's not even it's like not even remotely close. And so it is an unfair thing, but it's also stunning, isn't it? The contrast that if you go back and you see, like there's a video online where Buddy Holly is playing this song, Betty Sue or whatever, you know, and it's got these ladies. I don't know what the name of the show was. It's all in black and white. They've got these kind of bouffant style hair things going, and they got these silky gloves, and it looks like a very hoity-toity, you know, lifestyles of the rich and famous styled thing, sipping on, you know, champagne. And she gets on, she's like, you may have never heard of these guys, but they are pretty controversial, but I think you should give them a good listen and find out it's just fun kind of thing. And then it's Betty Sue, I love you, da-da-da-da-da. And you're thinking, dude, people were really ticked about that. Like they were like outraged. There's mobs outside. What are you doing? The whole generation's going to hell because of Betty Sue. And then to see from that what used to outrage people, and see now and just say, oh boy, as I said, what does the future have in store for us, guys? We're in trouble.
It's hard. That's the reason why it's so hard to like differentiate. Like, am I just being an old man because I'm older now? Am I just being an old man, or is it because it really is that bad? And really how much worse can it get?
It is that bad. How much worse?
I mean, you used to not be able to show Elvis Presley swing his hips.
Yeah.
Now they'll have a chick who's naked and they'll just have maybe her crotch, like, dotted out or something like that, and so that you can't see the whole thing, but then she can talk about whatever words that I'm not even going to say in here.
This conversation's making me feel so old.
we are. All the young people watching are like, haha, and they're all making fun, and we're like, guys,
we're all pretty close to age, right?
For you guys, it's think it's crazy now, and wait, dude, because if it keeps following that track, man, we are in Mad Max land.
No, it'll swing around, and like pretty soon we're gonna have like a new wave of like the Sinatra crooners and the Rat Pack stuff, and it'll start all over. That's what.
Except for they'll all be, instead of alcoholics, they'll be heroin junkies. Openly.
Stay skinny.
Stay skinny. oh no. Yeah. It's gonna be the pendulum, from the whole body positivity movement. You're gonna have the pendulum. It always happens. And so eventually
my wife works from home and she listens to the radio all day, and she started listening to that kind of stuff, and it's actually pretty good. I had never really given it a listen.
Big band?
I dig it. Like all the big band, like the Dinah Shore and all that kind of stuff. It's good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I can stand some, like I'll listen to like some Sinatra, but if the horn section is too much and too bouncy, like I like my horn section like real somber, like smooth jazz, not bouncy. I don't even like Miles Davis unless
some of it gets a little too frantic.
Yeah. I was listening recently, talking about music, kind of bouncy and stuff. I was listening to some mariachi music recently.
Yeah,
that's the future.
You like that, do you?
That's the future, dude. Well, we got in a big debate at the house, man, on like what's the most popular Mexican music, and I looked it up, and it's not mariachi, not all mariachi, but there's certain styles and stuff. My wife was not believing me, and I'm like, it's right here, it's on YouTube. I'm like, and I was jamming out to it, but I'm like, I don't know if that is going to be the pendulum. So I don't think we're going that way.
It's cool for a little bit.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool for a minute. That's what I'm getting at. Like, it's another one of those styles that I can listen to for a little while and jam out to it, but after a little while, it's a little too much.
Be careful what you say about Mexico, bro.
Oh no, you got to say that, because nobody watching would know unless they follow on social media and they see this. Yeah. But dude, it's hilarious. I don't think I even said Mexico. We got a person who was all in a bunch, man. Accusing me.
No, they weren't in a bunch. He called me out on Twitter and he was kidding around. He was talking about, I can't remember what episode. I think we were talking with Hunter, and we were talking about what would happen, talking about drive-bys or something, or guns firing.
Yeah, something.
And what would you do in that situation? And you said, well, if I was in Palestine, I'd probably just be sitting there eating some ice cream.
Yeah.
And that's saying you would
actual image that I've seen where a kid is eating ice cream and there's people with machine guns shooting at each other, and the kid's just sitting there like it's a normal day in the neighborhood. And
you had mentioned something about
finish your ice cream.
You'd said something about Mexico as well, outside of, I think, visiting there. And no, he wasn't mad. Got a good sense of humor. I did apologize just in case we had offended him, but apparently we didn't, and we weren't poking fun. And I said, hey man, you know what, we're just all jealous because you guys make the best food.
It's true, man. It's true. No, I was joking around about him being in a bunch, man. I'm being funny with him. He knows that. He knows
really cool.
Watching the show.
He's an artist, by the way. He's does this incredible, John, you've probably seen some of his stuff.
Who is it?
Max Stark. He does that really cool photo manipulation stuff with like the trees coming out of people's heads and stuff. Amazing stuff. I've seen him do, I think, one of Keelan Patrick Burke and Edward Lorne and maybe a couple of other people's, even reviewers. And little jealous, man. It looks pretty cool.
He said we need to sit down so we can have a conversation about Mexico. Mexicans. Yeah. Mexicans. Yeah. And ice cream.
Conversation.
And ice cream. That was what it was. We got to have that guy on too sometime.
Yep. Yeah. So we're thinking of you, Max. Thanks for listening.
Now I'm thinking about ice cream.
Oh, I'm always thinking about ice cream, John. Always. And people are like, what do you think about Jeremiah? I'm like, don't even ask, constantly, all the time.
I used to eat frozen yogurt all the time.
You used to eat frozen yogurt all the time?
Oh yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah, man. I don't know, dude. I like frozen yogurt.
It's not the same.
It's not the same, dude. It's not the same. And if someone's like, "Hey, would you like to have some of this frozen yogurt?" I'm like, "Don't you have ice cream?" I'm like, "No." And I'm like, maybe. Like,
maybe
I don't
you
have the same excitement.
very good frozen yogurt then.
That's what they always say.
Pretty good.
That's what they always
good.
do.
I mean, I've had it. It's all right. It's just, it's not the same. I'm not saying it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Me and John, we're the ones at the party that were like, we're not saying it's bad, but it's not the same. And they're like, dude, they're always making that argument. Like, but you know it's true. You know it's
That's true. Like when you were a kid, you'd go to your grandmother's house and you'd ask for ice cream and they'd give you ice milk and you'd be disappointed.
Oh man,
because it's not the same.
Or sherbet. Is it sherbet or sherbet? What do you guys say? Sherbet. That's what I've said too. Or or sorbet.
But I always used to call it sherbet.
Me too.
Yeah, there's no second R in that word.
I'm down with sherbet, man. I got that from my grandma too. Yeah, and speaking of going to grandparents, yeah, like if you're like you go to your like I remember going to my grandparents and it's like, oh, we're gonna make some popcorn and watch Hee Haw. And I was like, oh, great.
Yes.
Hee Haw. Wow.
And but their popcorn was bland. You know, they didn't douse it with butter and salt and all that stuff and make it all what my palate was used to at home. So I'd sit there and eat out of a giant what are those turkey pans you put I can't remember the name of the
roaster.
Yeah. And fill one of those up and I'd lay on the living room floor and watch Lawrence Welk and Hee Haw.
That's the most white trash image I think I've ever got in my head.
Yeah, man.
Sitting on the floor watching Hee Haw with a roaster pan full of popcorn in your lap.
Yep.
Wow, man.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, man. I just don't know how I feel about sorbet, man. I mean, well, it's okay, but it's like one of those things like maybe at grandma's house. You know what I mean? Like, because that is what I would have at my grandma's house all the time was sherbet and stuff like that. And I got to ask you, John, you brought up there's no second R in that. Are you sure about that, or is that
I'm not 100%?
Maybe a Mandela effect thing?
I'm not.
No, I don't think there is. I think it's.
I don't think there is.
Yeah, but did you guys? Are you also under the impression that there is a such thing as the Berenstain Bears?
You've brought this up before. And I don't get it.
The Mandela effect. You don't know what that is? I
never.
Know, I know what the Mandela effect. But when it comes to
about that. It's spelled Berenstein, Berenstain, not Berenstain, Berenstain, and it's actually Berenstain. It wouldn't even be bear.
It's Stain.
Yes, stain. And I don't know anybody if you ask them who'd be like, "Oh yeah, AIN." At the end of that, and I don't know. I don't know anybody. So I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe at one point in time, John, there was a second R. We just don't know. It's not confirmed.
I don't know.
Yeah, it might be the Mandela effect. The universe may have gone through a mega.
I just blew right by it for the ice cream. I never paid attention.
Yeah, I've seen some stuff on the Mandela effect, but the Berenstain Bears weren't one of the cooler ones that I saw. I can't even remember some of the ones that I saw before.
I like Fruit Loops. That fruit is FROOT. Fruit.
Yeah.
Or that Tunes for Looney Tunes is TUNES instead of TOONS. And I'm like, what? Or that in The Wizard of Oz, the Scarecrow has a gun, and that the Tin Man has an axe and a wrench.
The Scarecrow has a gun?
Yes. Scarecrow has a gun. And so there's a whole bunch of that, man. I'm telling you guys, we're living in a crazy universe. And it's not definitive yet. We haven't confirmed it. But it's possible that everything we thought is no longer real. It's possible.
Probably not untrue.
Yeah.
We've been taken away, probed, and then replaced with different types of Fruit Loops.
But that was a funny one, man. The Fruit Loop thing, because my grandma worked at Kellogg's. And she actually worked in the area that basically was the vitamins with the Fruit Loops, right? That was one of the things that she did. And I asked her, I was like, oh man, I'm going to get my grandma good on this. I'm going to ask what it is. And I said, how is Fruit Loop spelled? And she goes, FROOT. And I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. I'm like, so the Mandela folks, you got a 91-year-old lady, and she remembers this. She's like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah. That's the way it's always been spelled. I'm like,
I saw an episode of The Office one time where they had at the beginning of the episode, Stanley hadn't showed up for work yet, and someone mentioned something about his mustache or whatever, and then somebody else is like, Stanley doesn't have a mustache. And then the whole office started having this discussion. They couldn't remember if Stanley had a mustache or not, and I couldn't remember either. And I don't remember what season this was, but it was, it was definitely to the point where we should all remember whether Stanley had a mustache or not. And so when he showed up for work, they kept showing him, but his like face would be blocked by a plant or something else. And everyone's like on pins and needles, or he'd be, he'd have a newspaper up, or he'd be sneezing or something like that. And everyone's just waiting, and to see if it was weird.
Did they ever reveal?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's on the show every episode, so
yeah. Okay, that's different. Because I was gonna say they didn't reveal it in the movie. It's Pat.
What? What's that got to do with?
Well, it's the same one. Well, not, I don't know. It made me think of it. That like, is Pat a guy or a girl kind of thing, and that you're waiting for the reveal. And I was just wondering about if they revealed it, and if they.
Oh
did.
No. I mean, like I said, have you ever watched The Office?
I've probably watched less than 10 episodes of The Office in my life.
I watched several of the British version, but not the American version.
What do you think about that, man? Do you like the British version?
Good night, you guys.
It's okay.
I was gonna say, because I have seen. Let's say I've seen 15 episodes of The Office in the American version. Let's just say it's 15. I think I've probably seen 3 or 4 of the British one, and I didn't really care for it. I was like, yeah. But I had a lot of people that thought it was way better. They were like, "Oh no, that's like the best one."
The thing about the British one is, if you've seen the American one first, you're already used to certain characters, so you need to allow yourself some time to get acclimated to those people playing those characters that you're used to. It's a great show, but you need
plus British comic sensibility is a little bit different. More than a little bit different.
But it's a really, really good show. I liked it more than I thought I would. But again, you got to give yourself, 3 or 4 episodes to fall in love with those characters. But I've seen The Office, I think 3 times all the way through all of the seasons.
What?
It's one of my favorite shows of all time. The last couple episodes are good, but they're not as. I'm sorry, not episodes. Seasons are good, but they're not as good as when Stephen Carell was on it, and then they had James Spader on there, and that was pretty funny. He was like the main boss for a while. But man, if you guys haven't seen that, wow, they just took it off Netflix too and put it on that.
You know me, I just watch the same shows over and over and over.
What do you watch, man?
I love MASH, watch it all the time. But I also like a show. It's on Netflix. It's called Still Game. It's set in Scotland. It's English. It's about all the cast members are elderly in this town, and just the shenanigans they get up to. It's really good. There's like 9 seasons, but being English, the seasons are only 6 episodes long. Some people have trouble like understanding what they say, because when you first start watching it, the accents are so thick.
Yeah.
But then the more you get used to it, it's really a great show.
I remember when I was a teenager, I used to love the Young Ones. I used to watch them all the time.
That's a great one too.
And Monty Python, but I don't really like that. I liked that sense of humor when I was younger, but as I got older, I just didn't care for it as much. But so I actually tend to stay away from British television, except for I love that show Thriller.
There's a word for that. It's xenophobia.
yeah. You're xenophobic, dude, against those British people. Yeah.
I don't know. I have the tendency to just like stuff that I could relate to more, even location.
There's some really good stuff there. Have you ever watched Blackadder? That's a great show. Or Good Neighbors is a good one. League of Gentlemen is pretty good. That's kind of horror-y.
I watched a show for a minute called Skins. It was kind of a fun show. It's kind of a little bit edgy and stuff, and I enjoyed watching it. It made me think of that because the accent was so thick. It's one of those things where you got to really pay attention. And the kind of words they use that are unique, over there to them that we don't use over here to mean certain things. And it's kind of an interesting thing. Their slang and everything.
When my wife and I started Still Game, we didn't make it through the first episode. We were just like, oh yeah, I can't even understand what they're saying.
Yeah. Oh.
Then we hung in, and it's No, I don't even have to think about it. It's so good though.
It's reasons like that my wife and I stick to it much stronger than she does, but my wife and I do this thing where we have like this 3 to 4 episode rule where and you especially need to stick to it if you just finished a show that's like one of the best shows you've ever seen, because whatever you're going to start watching after that, there's no investment. You're not going to like the characters right off the bat. You're going to miss your old characters from your old show. So you've got to, invest a little bit in the show. And there's been a lot of shows where, like she would cut out and then I would keep watching, and then I would finally talk her into watching. I was like, you gotta stick the show out. Or there's some shows that I just watched the first episode. I'm like, yeah, this isn't for me, like Hannibal. And then Hannibal ended up being like one of my greatest shows I've ever seen. So you just got to stick that out. And the
you
way
could
we
watch Hannibal with no audio and it's still good.
Yeah.
I've still never seen one episode of that, man.
Dude, it's such a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. The third season lags a little bit in the first maybe 3 or 4 episodes, but the payoff
but then it comes back around.
Yeah. It's probably my second favorite finale in a TV show ever. But that's why I kind of wish they've been talking about bringing it back, and I kind of don't want them to, because I love the way it ended. But then again,
what's your favorite one?
6 Feet Under, for sure. Absolutely.
I've never seen that one.
I've never seen that.
It will tear you apart, dude. I mean, it's that one that I don't ugly cry when I cry easily when I watch a movie that moves me. And when I say cry, I mean I will tear up. My eyes will kind of become kind of blurry, and I might have to wipe them. But it happens fairly easy for me. But this show, dude, I all but ugly cried. I cried during several episodes, but the finale, and if you look it up, if you just Google like what's the best finale of a TV show ever, that's going to come up probably 90% of the time. And it's on a lot of people's favorites list, and it's absolutely heart-wrending. And when my wife was watching it years later, like I couldn't even listen to the song that was playing at the end. Like it would pop up on YouTube or something. I just shut it off because I get all sad. And when she was watching the show, she got like to the end episode. She binged it in like a month or something, all 6 seasons or 5 seasons. And I could hear that she got to the final episode. So I went to the bedroom and I was standing there. I just started getting teary-eyed because I knew what was coming up. I knew it was happening, and I had to leave the room, man. No. It's so funny. But
that's what I do all the time. I'll just get up and leave the room.
Yeah, I have
my exit.
I mean, it doesn't matter what we're watching. My wife and I, we just watched something really. Have you guys seen It Comes at Night? Okay, maybe that wasn't it. We were watching something that was just absolutely heart-wrenching, man. And I said, "You tearing up?" She's like, "No." And it was like, and I had tears like practically running down my face. That's just how she is, man. She just doesn't.
No, same, exactly the same.
She just doesn't. I mean, she doesn't laugh at me for it. But she just doesn't. Nothing moves her like that. She cried reading Boy's Life, and I don't cry when I read normally.
I think I only did I've done it a couple times.
I teared up.
Westlake Soul.
Yeah.
And a couple times in foster homes. I told you that.
Yeah, that's right.
Look at that. Yeah.
That was going to be my blurb, actually. I was going to, because you sent me a message after you read it and you said, "You made me cry, asshole."
Yep.
Yeah, that's
that was going to be the blurb I used. And then when I did my first Thunderstorm deal, and Paul asked me what I wanted to call the 4-novella thing, I was talking to my wife and I said, "I want to call it You Made Me Cry, Asshole." And she's like, "No, don't you dare do that." I was like, "Yeah, but it just sounds cool." And all these stories are in here are all kind of tear jerkers.
It's kind of what we do.
It's kind of weird that you're talking about crying, Chad, because I'm just, as you're talking about it, I'm going back over all the years I've known you, and dude, I don't think I've ever seen you cry. Never.
Probably not. Probably not.
Never, dude. I know you've probably seen me cry before. Probably. I'm kind of one of those guys, and I do the ugly face. If I'm gonna cry, dude, it's like it doesn't like I have to really repress it. But even the repression ends up being ugly in the face. And so
I'm one of those guys too who if I'm going through a hard time where I am in the position to where life is so bad that I need to be crying and stuff, then I usually I don't associate with people. You know, I don't tell them what's going on or anything like that. Like if I'm going through some kind of heartbreak or something like that, I usually don't talk about it. But maybe we'll have to, dude, if you were sitting next to me watching Paddleton, you get to see me cry.
That's what I'm thinking,
I never watched it for that reason. I watched the trailer and I went, yeah, no, that is not for me.
Oh, dude, man. That
Such it was my number one movie of the year.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It's a good movie, man. But you are bound to cry
for that kind of thing, and I'm just like, yeah, no, not for me.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it was super emotional. Even doing the review that we did, man, that was episode number 2. Like that, what a way to start, you know.
It was a very heavy episode.
Yeah, extremely heavy. It's kind of a standalone too. It's kind of a weird one in the history, I think, of our show.
People who listen to it were probably like, yeah, I'm not coming back to this.
Yeah, they're gonna be bawling. They're like,
these guys are bummers.
They're bummers. We're gonna start out. We started out with what, man? I mean, Wild at Heart, you know. So we start out with a bang, and then the very next one, we're just like dragging people through the saddest movie in the world, and they're like, and like everybody's crying, man. They're like, I don't know if I want to come back.
Yeah, my wife didn't cry, and I was just like,
and you're watching Paddleton?
Yeah, she loved the movie. And she thought it was sad, but me, dude, I thought I was gonna start making noises.
Yeah,
you know, yeah. it's a hardcore ending, man. Oh, it hit me so hard.
Yeah, man.
I was gonna have to pause it and go, I need to stop this.
And the worst part about those kind of movies is you know from the beginning how it's gonna end. Like they all, but it's there.
Well, I did know. Yeah, I did know that, but it's still, you're not prepared for that one,
and you can't reveal it because I think there's so many people that haven't seen it.
Yeah,
it's a tragic thing. We can't reveal the ending, but just say some people might expect it, but maybe not like that.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I'd say we'll leave it at that. It's one of those like, yeah, I think I know the way it is, and then they see it and they're like, oh, holy moly, and so it's But yeah, if you're not one of those that's like, you know, okay with doing the cry thing, then you're not gonna want to watch that movie. You need to stay away from that, John.
I know. I mean, I'm not. It's not that I'm not okay with it. It's just sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling that right now. So
yeah, there's been some horror movies that I hear the final guys talking about, and I'm just like, I know that they'd be up my alley and I'd enjoy them, but I don't know that. Like 2 that stand out are like The Mist. Apparently the end is pretty hardcore. And
a little bit.
And then 1922, Stephen King's 1922, the Netflix movie.
Didn't see that one.
I heard the whole thing is just nothing but they said the whole thing is like watching the end of The Mist for an hour and a half.
No thanks.
So they named a couple other movies that were like I think is it Tigers Are Not Afraid? May have been another one.
I think I saw that one. I think that was on Shudder.
Yeah, it's a foreign film.
It's I believe
about immigrants or something.
Mexican. I believe it's from Mexico.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty good. It reminded me a lot of Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh, really?
Just in like tone, not in like story, really.
I can't find anyone who's seen the movie Are We Not Cats? Have you seen that?
Yes.
Okay, you're the only person.
Did you watch it?
The hairballs.
It was icky.
Yeah, it was different, man.
No,
it was something. It was kind of a mess. I wouldn't really say I liked it.
It's not something I recommend, but I just can't find anybody who's seen it.
It's on Shudder, and I think I just put it on one Saturday afternoon for a little bit, and I was like, "What the hell is happening here?"
It's weird.
Everything you guys just said literally is the exact commentary of how I feel about the movie Greasy Strangler.
I've never seen that one.
Chad, And dude, I want the hours of my life back, Chad.
You saw it.
I watched it, dude. Yes, I did.
Yes.
You told me I should. No, dude. I watched it and I'm like thinking,
dude, did you really, or are you a bullshit artist?
No. Bullshit artist. Yeah. No, dude. At the end, I'm thinking, why?
Okay, the end was a whole different movie. I don't even know.
By the end of it,
yeah,
I was thinking back over the time and all the images, dude, in my head from this. And I'm like, why is this happening? Why would Chad be like, dude, you got to watch Greasy Strangler? I'm thinking, I mean, it was amusing, you know?
Were you entertained? I mean, dude, it's outrageous.
Oh yeah, it's outrageous, but I don't know if I would actually encourage anybody to watch that.
And it's so quotable.
Yes,
it's
but
so quotable.
I still would not encourage. I don't. There's very few people in my life that I would ever be like, dude, go home and check out Greasy Strangler.
Yeah, I know.
Don't, like, it's a risky business, man, to say that. But as you guys were talking about it and talking about the movie you're just talking about, the ickiness and the grossness and all this stuff, and not knowing many people who've seen it, not knowing if you could share it with many people, every single thing. And I mean, that's why I was sorry for interrupting, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to say this. That's exactly kind of how I felt watching Greasy freaking Strangler. And I'm like, what is this? I'm still confused.
Hey, I'm not seeing that.
I tried looking up an analysis of it. I even looked up, esoteric and psychoanalysis. Dude, just nothing. And I'm like, I don't think anybody's even given a whack at this. Like, they are like, it's the craziest thing you'll see. The images will stick with you forever. It's super quotable and really insane and wild. We don't know where the mind was of the guy who wrote it. And he hasn't done a lot either. The guy that wrote it and directed it. So it was two guys, I guess. And so I had to say that.
John, you have to see Greasy Strangler and let me know what you thought of it. You have to see Greasy Strangler and let me know what you thought of it.
I think I looked it up and read the synopsis and went, yeah, I have no interest.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't read synopsis.
Don't do that. He says don't do that.
Just watch it, dude. It's very scary. No, dude, did you like Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry we're cutting this short right now, guys.
Yeah,
well,
we gotta get out of here, man. I can't believe that.
I love both those movies. And the Greasy Strangler feels to me like that same guy made them, but maybe took some robo before he got everybody together. And then said, okay, here's my idea. And everyone's like, what? Okay. Because it aesthetically, it looks very much like those movies. And the acting is very much like those movies.
Yeah.
I think. I love Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre.
No.
I do too, but I don't, I think I could have done without if there wasn't so much dong. Like there's
a lot of dong.
There's a lot of dong.
Dong is all
nudity in general. There's just a lot of nudity in general, and there's just a lot of sex in general and stuff like that. And it's just
every dong in the movie is absolutely fake.
Well, yeah, but dude, I don't want to see it. Like, why am I doing this? What am I? I felt like Clockwork Orange. I'm like, Chad. I'm like, which character are you, man, in Clockwork Orange? You're one of those creepy dudes that's putting the drops on my eyes and making me watch this. And I said, dude, I don't know what's going on, but I don't know. And normally, Chad, I recently said that I think there are movies you got to give it a second chance and stuff. I just don't know about that one. So, John, if you ever do watch it, always remember the scene right here. You got two guys here. One of those is like, you got to watch it, bro. And one of those is like, maybe not, John. So just remember that. So if you ever do, and you can line it up and see, say, where did you fall on the spectrum, man? Between paleo and cheese, where'd you fall on that spectrum?
Yeah, now he has to check it out. But listen, I don't want to keep him too late. But, so real quick, I do want to ask him a little bit about John. I kind of know what you're working on, but can you talk about that, or can you talk about? Actually, I want to mention too, Walk the Darkness Down, and you and I have spoken privately about it a little bit. It was the best book I read did I read it in 2018?
I don't remember. Maybe because that's when I finished it.
Okay.
So probably.
Yeah, so I probably read it in 2018, and it was like in my top 2 or whatever that year of the best books that I had read. It might be, I don't know, it's tied with Jedi Summer as far as books of years for me, I think. And I see a lot of Westerns. I have read none of the new Westerns that have come out. I've got one. Jeremy Wagner sent me one. And I have.
You mean the Death's Head series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got great covers. I've been hearing some great things. I definitely plan on reading one, but I have seen, and I know that you're not like the absolute pioneer when it comes to like a weird or splattery Western or whatever, but I've not seen Walk the Darkness Down get the credit it deserves as far as helping lay some of those stones down for that path that would lead to what seems now is just an absolute explosion of Westerns. I mean, everybody.
Yeah, I think it missed the boat a little bit. It was out there a little early, I guess.
Ahead of its time, we'll say. But I would encourage anyone to pick it up, even if you hate Westerns. I don't like Western stuff. I haven't really read any, but I don't really watch like Gunsmoke and Bonanza or any of that stuff. I didn't grow up with that, really watching it. Not that it's like those, but I'm just saying. And I loved Walk the Darkness Down. I thought it had one of the best villains I'd ever read before. One of the most unique. And one
it's kind of gross.
And one that you can even like sympathize with, even as evil as he is. And I loved everything about that book. And I just remembered you were writing that at the same time I was writing Skullface Boy, and we both named our protagonist Levi. Just remembered that, which I thought was
That's weird.
Yeah, we've done something like that before, like when we both put our debuts out and they just happened to be released on the exact same day.
They were both coming of age.
Yeah, both coming of age. And I meant to mention this at the beginning of the show. I know that we've spoken about this before. I don't know if we have together or not. Maybe we have, but not on my show. But we met through a contest, writing contest on the Cult of Me blog, I think is what it was called. And every month, the gentleman who was from the UK, I believe, would post a picture prompt and offer, was it £50 for first place?
It was like a money prize, but I don't remember what it was.
It's like £50 and £25 and then something else, I think. Like you could get up to third place. And it was my first time trying. And I don't know how many times you had tried before or you had been doing that.
That was the first time.
I had also discovered Shock Totem, which you were part of, which I didn't know you then. And on Saturday nights, maybe every other Saturday night, I can't remember what it was.
It was every other.
Do like this hour-long race of picture prompting contest. It was super cool. And because a picture would be posted and everyone would have like an hour?
I think it was an hour.
Yeah, to write a piece of fiction, flash fiction, whatever, and then post that. And then everyone would go down and not just vote on them, but offer.
You had to read all the other ones and critique.
Yep. Offer feedback and critique them. And I had done that maybe 3 or 4 times. And when I went back after we knew each other for a few years, I went back to that and I looked at that and I saw us talking in there before we had actually met. Like you had, given me some feedback and I had given you some feedback on something that you wrote. And I end up using, I think, all of those stories and then, fattening them up and putting them in Knives of Catalyst. But when you and I were doing the contest for the Cult of Me blog, you won first place. And just like most writers, particularly when you first start out, you think that everything you write is a masterpiece and probably better than anything that anybody else can write. At least that was kind of my attitude at the time, because I would get so happy about something and feel so prideful. And I remember thinking my piece is absolutely going to take at least third place. And I can't remember if it did or not. I think it may have. I know I won first place in there later on, and I won third place or second place in there at one point too. But the time that I submitted a story, and it didn't win, and yours won. And I remember being upset, and then I read it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, this is pretty kick-ass." And so I congratulated you, and we became friends like right away.
Skipped off into the sunset together.
Yes. Yes. So I wanted to mention that, but yeah, what are your plans for the rest of the year as far as writing goes?
Well,
and hopeful releases.
Yeah, hopeful. I first I have to finish something actually. I started a new Western. It's probably going to be weird. Probably going to be a little more traditional horror than the last one. And I really just want to get that finished and pitch it to Death's Head because I really want a Justin Coons cover.
Yeah.
It's really the incentive.
Yeah.
So first I have to finish it. Then I have to send it to them and see if it's something they would take. That's that goal. Then I guess I should finish Snarl because I've worked on that for probably almost a year now and I'm not very far in that.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, and then our project, and I've got a third book with Bob Ford, which is probably the closest to complete of any of them.
You guys have been working on that for a long time too.
Since last summer.
Yeah.
Or last fall.
I think
the world kind of ground to a halt on everything. So
yeah, for a few different reasons, but yeah, and particularly COVID and
I just me, I work all the time, ridiculous hours.
Right. I get that. I'm hoping that I know yours and our thing that we're working on together, the Trailer Park Cove, is probably going to be short. I don't know that it would make for a long read, a good long read, but I think novella. So I'm hoping, and we've talked about it a little bit, but who knows, man? I mean, we could have it out in February. We could have it out in December.
It's so hard to tell anymore.
Yeah, I would love to be able to have it out no later than spring, but we'll see, man. I already think people are going to dig it. I already dig it. I think it's going to be hilarious. And
it seems like it's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun read. And it's, to me, it's like it's if you took the Neon Owl and you had everybody from like Cattywampus stay at the Neon Owl.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah. It's got the feel of both of those. Man, I would encourage anyone to go out and get some of John's stuff, and put Jedi Summer in the back of your brain. It'll be out. You don't have a release date on it, like maybe fall.
I think he said August 31st at the latest. So okay. I'm not quite sure how he works.
Okay.
So I mean, I guess it could be like any time close to that.
Cool. All right.
But I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, look up John on Amazon, man. Grab his stuff. And you don't have like a website or anything, but you got Twitter. People can.
I got Twitter
on there. And
I gotta get a decent website one of these days. That's low. That's low on my list of things.
Priority,
though, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, if your stuff's on Amazon anyway, you know what I mean. Your stuff's out there. Your stuff is being sold. And you can put. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Facebook or whatever, you can put your bio there and link it up and stuff. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, how many people, is that like low on the priority or like, how does that work with authors, man?
Some people don't use their website at all. They want nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Some people do. What is that? Bentley Little, who does like nothing.
Yeah.
Like he's got no social media presence, not like.
Some authors can get away
one of
with
the more popular.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do any social media at all.
Mm-mm.
See, I know people like that too. I don't know how they get away with it, man. But they're all writers though. Like all the people that I know that do that.
Prolific.
Yeah, they're prolific, and so they get their stuff out in other ways. But I mean,
they probably get a lot more done. They probably have a lot less distraction.
Yeah.
Just grab John's stuff on Amazon. I implore you. You will be a fan. Big fan. He's got a lot of people that are just like, what would be a Bodenians.
Yeah, you got Bodenians.
Yeah,
Bodenites, I think we call them.
Bodenites. There you go.
Yeah, Bodenites.
Bodenites. Yeah, very dedicated readers who constantly longing for the next Boden piece.
Well, I appreciate all that,
dude.
Even
thanks
though
for
I think
hanging
you're
out.
a little bit biased.
You know, I can see someone saying that, but you'll just have.
Well,
They'll just
here,
have to.
listen. What do you think about Marlene the Magnificent?
There you go. John wrote a story, Marlene the Magnificent, that I've told him I can't stand. I hate that story, and it's not for me. I think it's the worst thing he's written, but it's because when you stand everything else next to it, it doesn't even feel like a Boden piece. And yeah, so he knows, and it's our kind of running joke.
It's a bizarre story.
Yeah, it is a bizarro story for sure. It's just, yeah. And when you stand it next to the one that it's in with the angel wings one, I can't remember what it's called. It's like, what is this? How do these both say John?
I was in a different mood.
Yeah, I'll say. But dude, thanks for hanging out. I'm so glad that you finally were able to get on here and join us. And
it was fun.
Yeah, man.
I hope that you're able to get some adequate sleep. Well, you got the day off tomorrow, but I hope you're able to sleep in, and because I know it's very late for you right now, 9 o'clock.
It is. It is.
So
it was a good time. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks again. And thanks everyone for tuning in. You can Google us if you want to reach out. I don't want to get up all of the information, but do follow us.
We like to keep all of our
YouTube.
contact information very private.
Oh, very.
Yeah. You can find us. Just look us up. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the way it works.
Do the thing. Click the stuff. Bye.
Bye.